Well, guys, today is 6/19/2019 at 10:45 a.m. up here on the East Coast. It's 77 outside, 75 in here, and that's about where we're at this point. Well, I'm sitting here thinking about what's going to go on today, because what was scheduled for today did not happen, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But meanwhile, this came in yesterday. For those of you who worked on radios in the past and are familiar with radios, CB radios, there used to be well, what would you call it? A directory, an encyclopedia, a set of books. Volumes, I believe there went to 29 before they stopped making them. And they were called Secret CB. And what they were, each volume had 4, 5, 6 radios, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how much was involved in that one particular CB radio. But most of the time you got 5 or 6 radios per volume. And it would give you a detailed description, both in text and picture, on how to modify a particular CB radio. You know, the modifications, meaning how to get more power out of it, how to get more audio out of it. Now, when I say audio, I mean the output audio, the audio that people are hearing, not the audio that when you turn your volume up you're hearing, the output audio. You know, modulation. The if it's capable of having more channels, how to add them. So basically, it put out a lot of stuff that would be back then, even now, normally illegal for CB. However, FCC gave up on CB, so it's kind of an open gateway right now to do as you please. However, they stopped making them, and I believe it was around volume 29. Now, are they still good? Now, you can't buy the paperbacks anymore. They stopped publishing those years ago. I don't think they're out there anywhere. And now, with the day of computer, do you really want to have the paperback? You know, I guess if you like having them in hand, it's great. Would I like to have them? Probably, but it's more of a nostalgia thing. I don't work on radios anymore, and most of the radios don't exist anymore. But it's nice to have a few of them, because the later versions of the books naturally still have some of the updated stuff in there. Like, for instance, a couple months back, a friend of mine in Florida had sent me his Tram Diamond 42. He wanted me to modify it and crank it up a little bit and things like that. And you know, I knew the radio, so I didn't need any information on it, because I've done hundreds of them. But in that case, this would tell me everything I would have to do and turn or cut or jump to make that radio do what it's capable of doing. And at that point, you know, 100 channels instead of 40, you know, 5 watts. That radio wasn't capable of doing a whole lot of output power without making actually changes of the parts. But stock out of the box, you can probably get 5 watts out of it instead of your normal. Well, 4 watts is law, but as a rule, you're only going to get 2.5 to 3 watts out of a radio, new radio, out of the box. That was back then. Like I say, now things are a little bit lenient. FCC hasn't got the manpower to go around and beating on everybody's door. But at that point, that's how these are. These will allow you to do some of the modifications. Some of the modifications you can find right on YouTube on some things. Some you can't. But when I seen this out there for $8 or $10, whatever it was, $8.99, I said, you know what, it'd be nice to have, because it's got the full 1 through 29, I think. I haven't really looked at it yet. I'm going to plug it in and load it up, and just to have it, because it's just one of those things that, I always had. But when I got out of it many years ago, when I got busy, it was one of those things that was the first thing to just, get tossed or given away or whatever. So, but meanwhile, I picked this up on eBay. That's where we're at. Now today, I had a scheduled appointment to have my colonoscopy done and endoscopy. So they were going to do come in from both ends. Well, before I did that, I wanted to make sure that the heart doctor gives me the okay. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got on a thing called MyChart. I may have the icon out here as well. Let me see. I usually keep it everywhere. Okay, MyChart right there. And you can go in there, and they have this set up now apparently so that you can go in and set up your appointments. If you go in there, it'll tell you, you want an appointment, the days that you're available, or the days that you'd like to have it within. If you get too close on days, they're not going to be able to pick anything out of the hat, not unless it's in the future. But so I put in there, the first 2 weeks, because this was like 3 or 4 weeks before the procedure, which was today. So I put in there that I'm available Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. And I need an appointment to see doctor either so-and-so, 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 or so-and-so, which are my heart doctors. And everything was seemed to be copacetic, and here I am waiting. I actually forgot about it. And then, as the days come on and the days are getting closer, I said, what the hell's going on? Hey, Tuck. I haven't gotten anything. I haven't heard anything. This was Monday. And, the appointment's coming up on Wednesday. So, okay, buddy. So I called him on Monday. And I may have said something about that in a video. I don't know if I even posted the video. I don't have any idea. But I basically, hey, little buddy. Well, bring over. Oh, you want your butt scratched? All right, I'll scratch your butt. Yeah, I'll scratch your butt. Where are you? Oh, there you are. There you are, old timer. Yeah, you're getting all gray in the muzzle. Yeah, huh? You're the oldest one. You're 11 years old, buddy. Yeah. So, but, turn that down. Make a long story short, I ended up getting an argument with the nurse because she says, well, let me check MyChart because I don't know. I said, listen, if you don't see it there right away, there's a problem. And let's not worry about the problem that on MyChart right now. Let's worry about the problem on getting me in to see the doctor because I got to see the colonoscopy on Wednesday. Well, you don't have to yell at me. I said, I'm not yelling at you. I said, but you're not listening. She's talking and talking and talking. I'm trying to tell. I really want to tell her to shut up, and I wanted to start treating her like a telemarketer. But, these are my doctors, so you got to kind of bite your tongue once in a while. So she says, I'll see what I can do. And we get disconnected. And the next thing you know, I'm back on the phone again because they call. And they no sooner call, their number shows up by the time I get to the phone. And at this particular day, my phone was right there. So, all I have to do is go like this. They hang up. So now I got to call back and listen to 10 minutes of recordings. So, back and forth, speaking of phones, where is it? Oh, it's over here. Okay. So, to make a long story short, we finally get an appointment it was yesterday at 2:20. see the doctor. I go in, I see the doctor. Nice guy. Little strange at first, you know, to the point, you know, your first impression would be, do I really want him as a doctor? You know, but, you know, after you talk to him for a few minutes, he's to the point, let's put it that way. But after you talk to him for a few minutes, you get a grin out of him every now and then, everything seems to be okay. However, he says, listen, he says, I can't give you an opinion as to take to have it or not have it. I go, well, what do you mean? He says, I can't say yes or no. He says, because I don't know. I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I says, well, what would you need in order for you to say yes or no? He goes, I would need to do some testing. Okay, well then, I'll cancel today. You know, if that's the case, because if you can't give me a yes or no, why am I even thinking about this? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I feel okay. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to be okay, especially when they're going to put you out. Because again, I don't like being put out. So, I don't know anybody likes to be put out, to be honest with you, but personally, I don't like being put out. Some people it doesn't bother them, you know. But my thing is, if I know you can do it with me awake, then let's do it when I'm awake, you know. And because you want to put me out, that doesn't work for me. I'm the patient, you know. So anyway, but meanwhile, it's getting harder and harder and harder because the doctors and everybody make more money on you when they put you out. And it's probably a little easier on them as well. All right. Now you want it to be easy on them, but at the same token, you know, it's your body. So, but anyway, to make a long story short, he says, well, he says, first I want to do some more blood work to make sure that that's okay, because your blood work that was done, that we have, was done on the 19th of April. Everything looked good. However, it doesn't show thyroid or something else and whatever. He said, so at that point I'd like to get some blood work done on you as well. He says, and I'd like to strap a monitor on you for 24 to 48 hours. I said, oh, then that's what we'll do. You know? I mean, to make him happy, to get a yes out of him, and to make sure that I'm ready for it is more important than rushing to get it done. You know, especially when I've already had one done in 2017 and I was okay. Now, if there was some questions there, well, then they're both more or less important, so I don't want to act on this as fast as possible. But, you know, I don't feel that it's the rest of it. Let me put this over here. Is all, I don't want to say that important, because it is, but you know, to where it's got to get done right this second. Now, things happen quickly. I've learned that with my dogs, my boys, but at the same token, you know, we got to take it a step at a time. You rush things and sometimes you regret it later, so I don't want to rush anything. So I drop off the monitor tomorrow night, well, tomorrow afternoon, and I'll get my blood then. And then sometime this time next week, I should hear from him, and then I'll call up and reschedule the appointment for the Roto-Rooter and get that out of the way and make them happy. All right. Well, you know, it's making them happy, and it's also verifying that everything is still okay. So, but other than that, that's about where we're at. And I thought the sun was going to break through, and I was actually thinking of putting the finish coat on the front of the house, so that is complete. But I don't want to do it if it looks like it's going to do any type of raining. If it was oil-based, it wouldn't bother me too much, but when it's latex, it bothers me. So, Alright guys, I gotta have my coffee and start my day and decide what I have to do.